Namaskar aspirants and a very warm welcome to all of you. Today we are going to dive deep into a topic that's, well, a real pressure point in global affairs, the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to break down exactly why this tiny stretch of water is so incredibly important, especially for your GS Paper 2 preparation.
That's right. And this question you see on your screen, this is really the heart of our discussion. How can one small waterway have such a massive impact on everything from India's energy security to the stability of the entire world? Understanding this, really getting to the core of it, is going to be your foundation for a brilliant mains answer and, of course, for the interview.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll define what maritime choke points even are. Then we'll focus on Hormuz, compare it to other key choke points around the world, look at the international laws involved, and finally, bring it all back to why it matters for you, the UPSC aspirant. This structure is actually a great way to think about structuring your own answers in the exam.
All right, let's begin with the absolute basics. Section 1, what are maritime choke points? Before we can even begin to talk about Hormuz, we need to be crystal clear on this fundamental concept. Getting this definition right is, frankly, step 1 to a high-scoring answer.
So here it is. A maritime choke point is basically a narrow channel of water that a huge amount of global trade has to pass through. Think of it like a major artery in the body of global commerce. The really crucial part to remember is that there often aren't any easy alternative routes. So if one of these gets blocked, well, the entire system can face a crisis. They are absolutely critical.
And Hormuz is the textbook example of this, isn't it? I mean, look at this. It's a bottleneck for a fifth of the world's oil. Now, think about this for a second. Somewhere between 70 and 80% of all oil is transported by sea. So when you put those two facts together, you can see just how powerful these choke points are. A problem here isn't just a small ripple. It can literally cause an economic tsunami across the globe.
Okay, so now for our deep dive. Section 2, Hormuz, the critical artery. Of all the choke points we could talk about, many experts agree that Hormuz is hands down the most important one for the world's economy. So let's get into the specifics of why that is. Just look at that number for a moment. 21 million barrels of oil. And that's not per year or per month, that is every single day. We're talking about roughly 1/5 of what the entire world consumes, all squeezing through this one narrow passage. The sheer scale of it is staggering, and it highlights a massive strategic vulnerability. So let's break down the key facts. Geographically, it connects the Persian Gulf to the Indian Ocean. It's the only way out by sea for major oil producers, and at its narrowest, it's only about 38 kilometers wide. A true bottleneck. The main things passing through are crude oil and LNG. But here's the kicker for us, and for our region. About 80% of all that energy is headed for Asia. And who are the key importers? China, Japan, South Korea, and, of course, India. This directly ties India's energy security to whatever happens in that strait. It's an unavoidable connection. Okay, moving on. Now here's a pro tip for your mains answers. Just knowing about Hormuz is good, but it's not enough for a top score. You need to show a broader perspective. Putting Hormuz in context with other major choke points, that shows the examiner you have a truly global understanding. So let's do that comparison.
This table is perfect for your notes, so pay close attention. We've talked about Hormuz, but you also absolutely have to know the Strait of Malacca, which is that vital link for trade between West Asia and East Asia. Then there's Bab el-Mandeb, which is the gateway to the Suez Canal, and the Suez Canal itself connecting the Mediterranean to the Red Sea. If you know these four, you're in a very good position.
All right, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked geography, we've talked economics, now let's talk law. This part is so important for GS Paper 2. What are the actual international rules that govern passage through these waterways? It's a key question.
And the answer lies right here. The main document is the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea. You'll see it referred to as UNCLOS. And the most important principle from UNCLOS for you to remember, please make a note of this, is transit passage. It's a key word. In simple terms, it means ships should be able to pass through without being stopped or obstructed.
So let's dig a little deeper into transit passage. It means all ships, and yes, even aircraft, have the right to pass through quickly and continuously. Now, the countries on the coast, they can make rules for safety or to prevent pollution. That's allowed. But what they cannot do is stop ships or pick and choose who gets to pass. But, and this is the crucial point for a good analysis, what the law says and what happens in reality can be two different things. Enforcing this right often comes down to who has the stronger navy and better international support. There's a big gap between law and practice. Okay, this brings us to the most important part for you. How do you take all this information and turn it into marks in the exam? This section is all about connecting this knowledge directly to your UPSC success.
First things first, please note down the syllabus link. This topic is a perfect fit for GS Paper 2, under the section on global groupings and agreements affecting India's interests. I mean, does the Strait of Hormuz affect India's interests? Absolutely. It's a classic example.
So with that syllabus link in mind, let's look at how a question might actually be framed in the exam. You could get a very direct question, discuss the importance of Hormuz for India's energy security. Or it could be broader, asking about choke points in general. And a third way they could ask is about the law, focusing on transit passage. You really need to be ready for any of these.
And finally, keywords. Aspirants, this is so important. When you write your answers, you must use the right language. Sprinkling in terms like energy security, geopolitical volatility, freedom of navigation, UNCLOS, transit passage, this is what tells the examiner that you truly understand the topic in depth. These are the words that get you the high scores.
So we'll leave you with this final question to think about on your own. It's the kind of question that moves an answer from good to great. Given everything we've discussed, all the vulnerabilities, what should India's long-term game plan be? Should we be looking for different energy sources? Should we build up our navy to protect these routes? Or is the answer in diplomacy? There's no single right answer, but thinking about these policy solutions is exactly what you should be doing. Thank you so much for your time and all the very best with your preparation.